Hey guys, today we are going to talk about graphing circles and writing equations of a circle. Okay, so here we have the standard equation of a circle. It's in the form x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. H and k makes up the center of the circle. So the point HK is the center, and you'll notice that this is the opposite of h, which means in the center we change the sign to get this h for the center, and that's the x coordinate. And then we change the sign here to get k, and that makes the y coordinate of the center. R is the radius of the circle, so that goes halfway across a circle, but you notice here is r squared. So we'll have to do the square root of this number in order to get the radius of the circle. Okay, so here we have a graph of a circle and we want to write its equation. So here the center is at 0, 0, which means h and k are both 0. So we have x minus 0 squared plus y minus 0 squared equals the radius squared. So the radius, we can just count the number of units from the center to the circle in any direction, left, right, up, or down. So I'll count here to the left, that is 1, 2, 3 units. So the radius is 3. So we have a center at 0, 0. We have a radius of 3. So we've got x minus 0 squared plus y minus 0 squared equals the radius squared, and 3 squared will go right there. Now x minus 0 is just x, so we can simplify this to x squared plus y squared, and 3 squared is 9. So there's the equation of that circle. So next we have a circle with a center of 0, negative 9. So there's h and k. We have a radius of 4.2, so there is r. Okay, so we have an h of 0, so x minus h, we can just write x. So x squared plus, then we have negative 9, so y minus k is y minus negative 9, which is y plus 9. Okay, so in the equation we have the opposite sign from what is in the center. And then squared equals r squared. So r is 4.2, so we need to know what is 4.2 squared. 4.2 squared is 17.64. And there is the equation of this circle. Okay, so we have a couple more circles to write equations for. So we've got a center here of 0, 0, so that's x minus 0, which is x, squared. Y minus 0, which is y, squared, equals, and then 2.5 squared. 2.5 squared is 6.25. Okay, then here we have y minus negative 2, so that's y plus 2 squared, plus y minus 5. I'm sorry, this should be x plus 2 squared, plus y minus 5 squared equals the radius squared. 7 squared is 49. Okay, next we're going to graph a circle. So we have the equation. We're going to go backwards, and we're going to graph it. So we need to find out what is HK. So what is the center of this circle? Okay, so H comes from this, but this is the opposite of H right here. So the center has an x coordinate of positive 4 and a y coordinate of negative 2. Okay, so we take the opposite signs here. The radius is the square root of this number right here. Okay, so here we had r squared. The opposite of that is the square root. So we take the square root of 16, which is 4. Okay, so we graph 4, negative 2. So right 4, down 2, and that is the center of the circle. And we have a radius of 4. So we're going to go left 4, right 4, up 4, and down 4. And we're going to connect those in a circle. We're going to make the best circle we can out of this. And our circle should touch all 4 of those points. And as best we can, we make the rest of that resemble a circle. Okay, so here's another example where we need the center and we need the radius. So the center comes from the opposite of what's here and here. So we have positive 4 and negative 3. And we have a radius of the square root of 9, which is 3. So we go right 4 and down 3. And we have a radius of 3. So from there we go left, right, up, and down 3 units. And then we connect them in a circle. Okay, one more that we will graph. So we have a center that comes from the opposite of these 2 points here. So that would be negative 8, negative 6, and a radius of the square root of 64, which is 8. Okay, now we are going to have a hard time fitting in this circle into this graph if we count by 1. So instead, I'm going to count by 2. So I'll make a note right here, we're at 2. Here we're at 2. So we're counting by 2. So negative 8 would be negative 2, 4, 6, 8. And then negative 2, 4, 6. So there's our center. And then we're going to have a radius of 8. And again, we're going to count by 2s. 2, 4, 6, 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. And 2, 4, 6, 8. And there is our circle. Okay, so next we are given a point on the circle and a center, and we need to use that to write an equation for this circle. Okay, so in order to do that, we need to know the radius of the circle, and we need to know h and k. So h and k are going to come from right here. So our equation is going to be x plus 1 squared, opposite sign here, plus y minus 3 squared equals the radius squared. Now, in this case, we really could just count the radius. And I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the radius is 5. But if you don't have the graph, then it's going to be a little more difficult to count that radius. So what we're going to do is use the distance formula to find out what the radius is. Okay, so the distance formula is the square root of x minus x squared. So here are your x's, negative 5 and negative 1. So negative 5 minus negative 1 squared plus y minus y, 6 minus 3 squared. Okay, so negative 5 minus negative 1, that is negative 4 squared, plus 6 minus 3, which is 3 squared. Negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 16, and 3 times 3 is 9. So we have the square root of 16 plus 9, which is the square root of 25. And the square root of 25 is 5. So we got a radius of 5. Okay, now in this equation we put the radius squared, which is 25. So that is the equation of the circle. Okay, so we'll try a couple more of those without a graph. Okay, so we have a center here of 1, 4. So we have x minus 1 squared plus y minus 4 squared equals. That's the easy part. We put the center into our equation. Now from there we need to know what goes here, the radius squared. So we have the distance formula, 3 minus 1 squared, that's x minus x squared, plus y minus y, 4 minus 4 squared, under a square root, and that will help us find the radius. 3 minus 1 is 2 squared, plus 4 minus 4 is 0 squared, still under a square root. 2 squared is 4. 0 squared is 0, so 4 plus 0, which is 4. And the square root of 4 is 2. So this circle has a radius of 2. So what goes here is the radius squared. 2 squared is 4. Okay, the next one, the easy part, we take that center and put it into the equation. X minus 2 squared plus y minus 6 squared equals, and then we have the radius squared, so we do the square root of x minus x, negative 1 minus 2 squared, plus y minus y, 2 minus 6 squared. Negative 1 minus 2 is negative 3 squared. 2 minus 6 is negative 4 squared. Negative 3 squared is positive 9. Negative 4 squared is positive 16. And 9 plus 16 is 25. So we have the square root of 25, which is 5. So the radius of this circle is 5. And what goes here is the radius squared. 5 squared is 25. And there is the equation of this circle.